Um, awesome. Well, welcome everyone to our February Advisor Roundtable. It's great for y'all to be joining us this evening. I know it's a busy time for all of us. It's a crazy weekend coming up, but I'm grateful that y'all are here. So we're going to do this like we typically do all of our roundtables. We're going to start with some updates for y'all, some things just to look out for, some exciting things up ahead in our organization. And then we'll do a discussion, question and answer type thing, so that y'all can hear from each other and really learn from each other, because that's the reason that we're all here. So I'm going to pass it off to Jeff and Melissa just to, for the updates portion, and then we'll come back to the questions.
Yeah, we will just be very brief on updates. Just a couple things just to remind you all of, or give you a heads up on. Next week, hopefully by mid next week, our website will be updated with the international convention information. So for those of you who have members who are planning to go to Austin and join us in Austin this summer, we will have all the agenda, everything will be lined out there on the website. And we'll be sending out a formal email on that. But just as a preview, it's July 24th, which is a Sunday, through the 27th, which is a Wednesday. We'll be at the Sheraton at Capitol, which is a relatively, like in the last year, renovated hotel. So it's very nice. Registration for the Circle K International Convention will be $250. That will include a couple of meals. And then the hotel nights and taxes will fluctuate a little bit, I guess, but will be $169.65 per night. And of course, we can put 2 to a room, 4 to a room, as we've had in the past. So just wanted to let you all know about that. We're also doing a new format this year in which we're going to be sending out the students every day to do different types of service projects, because that's something we've heard over the last couple of years. So we're really excited about the new format. It'll give not only our students opportunity to have some fellowship time, but service time, as well as education and other leadership type of training. So again, look for that next week. Also just wanted to remind everyone on dues. If your club's having trouble paying dues, please let us know. And also just be aware that starting next year, the next service year, is when we're finally switching to the per member dues model that was passed last year in Salt Lake. So that, the $600 flat fee for most clubs will be gone. It'll be a $24 per person in the US and tier A nations on the Kiwanis schedule. So again, we hope that will really help us spur growth, especially in our small and medium-sized clubs. So again, we'll be putting out more information about that, but just be aware of that as you're planning your budgets in the coming year. And again, it's a big transition. So like I said, we'll have tons of information as we get closer to October 1, when we start collecting those dues for the next year. I can take any question now, but if there aren't any, I'm going to introduce Melissa. But any questions about the dues proposal, or the new dues model, or the convention before we move on? Okay. Well, I wanted to introduce Melissa McMahon, and Melissa, I gave you screen sharing capacity, so if you need to, but as you all know, Kiwanis has really invested over the last couple of years in what we call the Global Leadership Certificates, which is a relatively new program to provide online training to not only Key Club members, but CKI members on a whole host of skills. As this continues to roll out, these will be officially, like, I don't know, verified is not the right word, but they will be credentialed, I guess, by the credentialing authorities. And again, it'll be an added value to our members. So Melissa is kind of our project lead on this, and I wanted her to maybe speak for a few minutes to give you all up to date on what's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So go ahead, Melissa. Oh, you're muted, Melissa.
I do need sharing capabilities. I tried and it says disabled. I'll try again. Oh, there we go. Okay. So welcome everyone. We are really excited to share the Global Leadership Certificate. So I wanted to start off, and for more information about the Global Leadership Certificate, you may have seen on CKI's website that there's actually a page And so if you go to CKI's website, you can click on Global Leadership Certificate. And it basically talks about the courses that we are going to have, leadership courses. There's 39 of them, and they're broken up into different leadership topics. And so connection, inclusion, try not to go too fast, but you all can take a look at this, and it's actually circlek.org/global leadership certificate program. And we will continue as we get ready to launch. I'll put this in the chat. As we continue to launch, we will have more information that we will send out not only to our advisors, but then also our CKI members and also our CKI presidents and secretaries, since they would be updating club rosters. So this is just kind of a high level kind of introduction, and we will have frequently asked questions, but our goal is this for this is to actually, add value and offer leadership courses to our students. So I'm just going to quickly show you, since it hasn't officially launched, I'm using Kyle's login. I'm impersonating Kyle. So the students, what they would do is they would go into the MUC, the Membership Update Center, or I also call it Kiwanis Connect. You all as Kiwanis, those of you that are Kiwanis members may go into there. And we're going to add a link that says Access Global Leadership Courses. So we'll have more information about this, but I just kind of wanted to put this out there. And then the Global Leadership Courses will, students can launch the program, and we have a whole catalog of 39 courses. So there's about 22 courses that are available right now. And then there's 12 to 14, 30, yeah. And then there's more courses that are coming. And so I just wanted to click on a couple of them. You can also, so you can just scroll down, and the students can take them at their own pace. They can log in at their own convenience. They're about 20, 30-minute courses. This is the dashboard, the catalog once you launch, and my learning. So the students would be able to see if they need to go back to a particular course. But so for example, we haven't finished. We'll do, whoops, sorry. We will launch, we'll launch a course. What is empathy? And so it'll open up in a new browser, and then it'll load. And we were really excited, and I hope, let's see if I have my volume on. Let me know if the volume doesn't work or it's wonky, let me know. Can you hear it or not? No?
It's kind of wonky, Melissa.
Okay,
Sounds like a
sorry.
Muppet baby.
Okay, but as you can see, we have Leah and Kyle. Actually, we lend his voice as well. And so we actually had CKI members read the scripts. So they're going to be learning from their peers. And then it's just a very easy continuation of what the courses are. And then on some of them, there's either a handout or reflection courses that the students can then take back to, if they do it at home on their own, or then when they meet together as a club, they can talk about it. Some of them, again, the strategic planning is one course, and then where they might be able to. And then there are, some of them have assessments, and some of them have open blanks, I guess, that they can type in their feelings. None of these courses are graded, but once the students have completed all of the courses, then they will receive a certificate, and it'll be a download. They'll get an email and they can download it themselves. And as Jeff said, we are working on like college accreditation. We're working with a local college that we're trying to look into how we can get this accredited so that students can put this on their resume as for looking for jobs, as well as maybe even social media badges. like LinkedIn, or I know there's some other college age job boards that we might be able to do some social media buttons. But we're really hoping that this can be, added value to our students. Any questions that anyone has? Sorry, I know that was kind of quick, but this is just kind of an intro. As far as the launch, I'm going to be sending Kyle and the iBoard learner test logins probably tomorrow, if it's okay with Jeff. Jeff's already looked at a lot of the courses, and so we want to get student feedback on, still the if there's any bugs or if anything needs to be tweaked. We also have a path for our Key Club students as well.
Somebody wrote in the chat, Melissa, will this be free to members? And
Yes.
the answer is yes. It's part of your membership to CKI. They will need to be on a roster to log in. So that will be important. But again, this is just another a member benefit that, again, it's optional. They don't have to do it. We really want them to take these courses. We think they'll be valuable to them. But again, it's a selling point as well as you try to grow clubs and also, as we look forward on this is a nice platform to have. We want to eventually, and hopefully in the next year, to put leadership modules on here for club officer positions and so on and so forth. So again, optional things that, for those clubs that do it in person, that's great. But those that would like some assistance or to follow some other modules, this will be expanded in that now that we have this kind of platform in place.
Yes. Any other questions? And so one thing that I would really encourage you as we launch date, we send out things, making sure that the students' personal emails or whatever email that they're using that would be in our membership system, that's how we're going to have the students log in. So if it's, Kyle@kiwanis.org, that will be the email that our students will use to log in.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa.
You're welcome. Good luck with your meeting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Melissa and Jeff, for your updates. Now we're going to get into the discussion portion of our meeting. Hip hip hooray, let's go. So as you all know, as club advisors, we're currently in the middle of spring recruitment season, right? Clubs are getting back from winter break. They're getting ready to recruit, get new members throughout the spring season. So my first question for today is, have you all been successful with spring recruitment? What's worked and what hasn't worked that your club has tried? And I'll put that in the chat too. And I'll repeat that. So have you been successful with spring recruitment? What's worked and what hasn't worked? And someone can just start and I'll just start calling out people.
I'll kick us off, Kyle.
Go ahead, Michael.
So, I mean, this year, unfortunately for Rutgers, we didn't start coming back into person until February. So I can really, I guess, talk about stuff in the past. So I think it's important to do something separate from what your school, if they set up something themselves, like have stuff on your own. So like, get tables in your student centers or your dining halls to, highlight your organization individually. Like, I know Rutgers used to actually have a spring involvement fair, but they got rid of that for some reason. But, at that point, there's probably, not as many students looking at a slew of different organizations. So, if you're there by yourself, I think just tabling on your own just really helps. Typically in the spring, we've usually gotten between 5 to 10 new members. And we've actually gotten 2 just from our normal social media posting and stuff like that already. But I know they're planning on doing some tabling in the coming weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And Brian in the chat. Yeah, I don't think a lot of clubs think about that, or have that opportunity from the university. I think a lot of schools just kind of do fall and that's it, especially smaller ones. So it's tough to get people out there in the spring and get new members. Anyone else have any spring recruitment? What other spring recruitment tricks have you used that have worked? Good, Brian. Pacino.
I'm sorry to hear that other schools don't do a spring involvement fair. I know at Stockton we do, and regardless if you have the fair or not, I found that a lot of people, we've been trying to target a lot of students who took that first semester off from getting involved, and they were kind of like just trying to get back into the flow of in person and things like that. And so we did some reverse stuff where you go to the different clubs' mailboxes and say, hey, we're Stockton Circle K. Are you interested in partnering together and doing an activity or a project or a program together? And by doing that, we've had some other organizations like come check us out. And, like one of the things we did, we reached out to some of the athletes, and we've gotten a slew of, different students, including a couple of seniors who are graduating, who, believe it or not, are transfer students who spent all their time at Stockton at COVID protocol and are just starting to get out there now. So I would say the one thing that I would suggest trying is try that reverse tabling, if you will. If you don't have a club involvement fair, just sending a little message to other clubs on campus. Hey, let's partner. Let's do something together. Let's do a cleanup, or let's do a fundraiser together. Let's just try to do something together. And, worst case scenario, picking up some, maybe a couple members here and there from the other clubs, and vice versa, helping your members find some more interesting things too.
Thank you, Brian. And Dennis in the chat, Seattle was not in person in spring. Recruiting is starting after decon, table location dates in the planning stage. So the moral, I guess, of Michael and Brian is, spring recruitment happens outside of the school sanctioned recruitment fair, right? So throughout the entire year, what have your clubs done that's been successful outside of the recruitment fairs? Like, what recruitment tactics have your clubs used that have been successful outside of recruitment fairs? And I'll give you like bring a friend night. Has there been like a bring a friend night that's been successful? Has there been a service project that's been successful? So what has worked for your club outside of the recruitment fair for recruitment?
I know it was mentioned on one of the previous calls, Kyle, but I thought it was a great idea of helping, having CKI members arrive early and helping people move into the dorms or welcome them back to the dorms after, after their fall or winter breaks.
Yeah, of course. What other things have worked for you all outside of recruitment fairs?
I'll go again. And this was actually something, I guess a member is a member, and, it's up to the club to make sure they're engaged and active. But last year, the district had like a contest for membership recruitment. I don't know if it was like people in the club that actually was trying it, or they just wanted to get the most, but like incentive programs, I guess. Like I know Rutgers has talked about possibly doing like something for this semester about like, if you bring a friend, you'll get X dollars off your dues next year. But I guess some type of incentive program. So whether it's like a pizza party or, something to your current members for bringing in a friend to get some extra people in the seats. Like, I think as much as we say bring a friend, yeah, they'll bring a friend. Like, I feel like though, in those situations, if they were going to come, that friend probably would have already came or been a member. But then again, if they're never asked, they won't come. So, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. Any other tactics that have worked for you outside of recruitment fairs? And I know that a lot of schools have not been, and Anthony, I sympathize with you because it's tough to recruit virtually, right? Like I think people have done it. You all have experienced this. We're 2 years into the pandemic now. Virtual recruitment is not the same. Talking to someone on Zoom is not the same. So I really sympathize with you all that have to go through that still. But does anyone have any other tactics that have worked for you all outside of recruitment fairs?
Kyle. It's Joey. So one thing, so I'm the advisor at a community college. We actually just got to 10 members and we just have our 11th member coming in. So community colleges for here, at least, it's taken a little bit longer to get those members. But one thing I went to was the ISO, or ISA, or International Students Association, and talked to them because we're in a rebuilding phase in our club, and I'd never thought to go and talk to that organization. And a lot of the students that were there, they really wanted to be involved in community service because they're coming from other countries, and that's, that was a big thing in their countries, and it kind of gets them together to do things. So half the actually more than half the members are actually from the ISA. That's a on-campus thing, and all I did was go and give a 20-minute, half an hour presentation on what Circle K was, what it had done in the past, inform them about things that have been going on throughout the years and everything, and they're really excited to get going in the spring. So that was a new thing that I had not thought of in the last 12 years that I've been an advisor. So
thank you, Joey. And I think too, a big thing that we're also taking away from this is partnering with other clubs on campus is okay. We are a very broad-based community service organization. We can partner with anyone because we have such a wide array of, assets and a wide array of, attractions for our organization. So I encourage you all to find clubs on campus that y'all can partner with. And it might lead to new members down the road. Because I know that's how my club has gotten a lot of members. Just in the chat, Curtis, we are brand new community college club president, set up meetings with 2 of our key clubs, and we're actively recruiting those seniors planning to attend our college. That is also big. Key club retention is big. I think we've seen it. I'll use Brian as an example, but he volunteers for Key Club Fall, or Key Club, what's it called? Key Club, what's the Key Club Fall route? Leader thing. Yeah. Anyway, he volunteers with that, and I've talked to people that he's met through there, and it's helped, build those relationships coming out of Key Club. One thing I also want to add too is that a really good passive way to recruit people on campus, just giving out CKI gear or putting CKI flyers up, any of those little things that you can do to get that K logo out there. So many people are familiar with the Kiwanis brand. So many people are familiar with the Key Club brand, and will soon be familiar with the CKI brand. So getting that out there as much as possible on campus, it's a very easy way to start getting that recognition out there. Before we move on,
Can I share one thing?
Go ahead, Katie. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie from Capital. I'm the advisor to George Mason University.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And we just, they've been doing a lot of rebuilding with the club. The pandemic slaughtered their membership, as I'm sure all of you probably can relate. But the one thing we did, we just did a spring recruitment fair I don't know, we're what else besides recruitment fairs, but I think what was really cool that we did last week, we had our recruitment fair, was we gave away spoons. So we had a bring your own spoon, which has been done before, but I think it was unique. And we also had candy, and the school was no candy, no whatever, just single. So a lot of clubs that were at the fair, I think they plan to do candy, but we had that. Plus we made Valentines for a boy with leukemia at our table. So it was a way to get involved. And then, like I said, we gave away these spoons. And then, it wasn't leaps and bounds, but at the meeting the club had last night, we had 15 new people show up, which was amazing. So I don't know, I think, and the other thing we had the stickers, and we were oh, feel free to take stickers. Those were for the Valentine's service project they were doing. And so I don't know, I think from the students that were at the fair that I worked with, they were yeah, it was we had cool stuff. And that's what attracted people. And then, they just naturally brought their friends. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Katie. And I think that's huge because, I think we struggle for that first meeting of the year or the first meeting with new members. We're oh, we have to go through and tell them everything that CKI is and all the things that we encompass. But really, if you have a fun starter, if you go and eat some ice cream, where you go, and I know one club handed out ramen and they had a ramen night on their first meeting. You already have an agenda planned. You're handing out ramen and you have a meeting set for the first day, and you're getting people engaged and fun and showing them the fellowship that CK offers. So you're getting people right into it, which is awesome. Does anyone have any other things before we move on? What other tactics have worked for y'all? Awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. So we're heading into spring, we're heading into the summer. And as you all know, if you've been around for a little bit, the summer tends to be a lull, right? We all leave for the spring, people graduate, and then there's this dead period from June through August. And then we see everyone pop up in September and start planning frantically for the new start of the new semester. So how do you plan to deal with the summer lull, i.e. keeping leaders engaged over the summer? And I will put that in the chat. How do you plan to deal with the summer lull? Who would like to start? Go ahead, Brian. Thank you for starting us off, Brian.
One thing we did, starting with the pandemic summer, the first time when everyone went home really early, is we started doing a book club. And so students could be a part of a book club over the summertime. And then they met every few weeks during the summer to stay involved. And they stayed together going over a book. They picked the book that everyone voted on and whatnot. And so they were committed to it because they wanted to read about it. And that kept everyone engaged and branched out a little bit with each other. And like they started like breaking into smaller groups to discuss their section. And then it turned out to be a pretty interesting way of staying connected over Zoom and whatnot during the summer. So
that's an awesome idea, Brian. Thank you. What other ways have you combated the summer lull, or plan to? What new ideas do you have?
I'll chime in here real quick.
Okay.
I'm a Circle K advisor in southwestern Pennsylvania, and I'll be honest, I really struggle with this because I find that at least our student population, they like to kind of check out in the summer. I advise a few student clubs in addition to Circle K, and I have had some very successful summer retreats where when it was possible, the students came back and we kind of did an overnight sort of thing where we kind of planned, game plan for the upcoming school year and whatnot. That's not always realistic though. It really kind of depends on the group of leaders that you have. But yeah, I like the idea of the book club or trying to come up with a social way to keep them engaged over the summer, because I've really struggled with that one.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. And it is tough, right? Like, especially, you see it across multiple clubs. It's tough to keep people engaged over the summer. So does anyone have any other ideas for engaging people over the summer? Anyone have any online games were hosted? Also in the chat, make sure your Circle K leaders attend sponsoring club meetings, of course, and Zoom, meeting over Zoom occasionally. And listen, like I also think too, you don't have to, y'all don't have to, get together once a week and sing Kumbaya, over the summer. You just have to foster just enough of a connection so they don't come back as total strangers, right? Like just getting people excited and engaged. That way they come back the first day and they can hit the ground running instead of, oh, what's your name again? Oh, Brian Placino, like you get to build that familiarity, which I think is huge. Katie in the chat, give a list of things that members can do back home in their communities and ask the members to report in on what they do for MRFs and then have I know what you did last summer. And that is a great idea. That's another great idea. Any other ideas for the summer lull?
I was going to add,
Hey, go, Michael.
If you can find something, and I know we've done this in the past, and actually we were speaking with a Kiwanis Club president about doing this again this summer, is volunteering at like a baseball game for the like minor leagues. We have like the Somerset Patriots by Rutgers. I know things like that could be difficult because your club members could be spread out. Luckily in New Jersey and with Rutgers, they're probably at most only a 2-hour drive away. And even if they're kind of outside of New Jersey, they're typically not far. But yeah, just something fun and while doing service. And then to the other point, I think because of stuff like Zoom, it might make it even a little easier, just like a summer check-in, even if it's like a half-hour quick type of thing. How's everyone doing? Are you still alive? Type of thing. Just to make sure everyone's doing well. And as someone stated before that, it's, I think it was just you that like, you're not complete strangers.
Yeah, of course. A couple things in the chat here. Anthony says, CKI helps with the Kiwanis' National Night Against Crime. Sean, when he was a member, encouraged to interact with local clubs where we lived. Well, something I like to do is I like to interact with the Kiwanis Club in my hometown. I'm also a CKI nerd, obviously. But I love connecting with local clubs and stuff like that over the summer. Stay engaged. Jen Headcox, stayed in touch because you're getting up to attend international convention. What a plug! Thank you for the plug, Jen. Awesome. CKI Circa International Convention, July 24th, 27th, Austin, Texas. Okay. Any other things to combat the summer lull?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Yetta from CNH.
Hi,
I am
welcome.
calling to say hi. Well, our region, I'm the Orange County area, but what we do is called caravanning. So each club's got each club in a division, and they do like interclubbing. That'd be a social, or it could be like a service project. And like it's kind of a game that we have. It's kind of like you take over each club, or what do you say, like a team building kind of thing. And it's kind of like a scavenger to get points. And then we also provide Kiwanis to do takeovers. So we encourage like our Cafe Fullerton team or Irvine team to go to their Kiwanis and do a takeover. And that's where they talk about what they want awards that come at district convention or international convention. That's when they showcase their awards. Also, they sell like baked goods, and they do all that manufactured trauma. And then during the summertime, we also do our training, do a divisional training for our members. Even though we do a district one, we do a divisional one, and that's hosted by our divisional council board, and that we keep them engaged that way. That's one. And then during the summertime, we still do DCMs. We don't give up on that at all, because I think we want to encourage them to continue doing their service and kind of connecting with their peers. And it works for us, and our members are very engaged by doing that. We have 2 universities, a couple of the community colleges. We encourage also our universities to do Akita colleges for our community colleges. So they kind of take over each other and talk about how to transfer to the university, stuff like that. It really helps during the summertime when they start applying for college during the fall. Same with Key Club.
Thank you. That's awesome. Y'all stay active over the summer.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, we make sure they're very active. No, we're very much as we can, because summertime's the best time to actually do service, because they're so busy with school during the school year. I think I would take advantage of the time now, but I know with COVID it's a little harder right now. But we try to manage by use the safety checks, COVID, restrictions, stuff like that. It's been working for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think the common thing here too is that the baseline is fellowship. If even if that means, I think, a couple of times I've stayed engaged in clubs because we just stayed active in the group me over the summer. So if you encourage the club leadership to put a discussion question, maybe once a month or once every other week in the group me or a group chat, that could also be effective too. It doesn't have to be out of the box, let's do a book club kind of thing, but just keeping people engaged as much as possible is really going to be key. So that brings us into our next question, which kind of goes hand in hand with this. So how are your clubs planning for the fall semester, and what does that process look like? When do they start planning for the fall semester? And I will put that question in the chat. So what does planning for the fall semester look like, and when does that process take place? Anyone like to go first? It's always scary to go first. Someone's got to pull out the Band-Aid.
Okay, it's me again. This is Jenna from Citrus.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what we do is, I know that Patty's already working on getting all the divisional districts of Key Club and Kiwanis in the area, but we did the same thing too. But we asked them to go to lieutenant governors, go to each of the clubs, visit them, and ask them what they're doing. We kind of give them homework and say, we need to know when you have your tabling, when school starts, and what are the dates, and what help do you need? And we do it like our lieutenant governor, Johnny, he actually does called caravanning. And he actually asks people who's going to come with him or whoever's going to help support that club that needs that support for tabling. And we do this already in the summertime, like July, we started like, because you can look on there actually at everybody's university website, dates already when school starts. And then you can see by their student union when they start tabling. So I already did that already because in my past, I've worked in school services and stuff like that. So I already know how to deal with that. So it's a good idea to already see that already, like be the fortune teller already, set it up for them. And then that way it's kind of like they just fill in the blanks. And then when you have your DCMs or your general meetings, you fill in the spots right there for your members and people from the division to support each other.
Awesome. Thank you. Justin in the chat, our clubs submit membership growth strategic plans before they leave for spring semester. Then they get revised, finalized the spring summer club officer retreat, June, July, and then executed when school starts. That's huge. Planning, growth planning, just getting something on pen to paper is really big when having a successful service year. What other ways do y'all plan for this fall semester? Go, Jay.
Oh, okay. One thing that this has been in the back of my head it's while we've been rebuilding the club, like how we're going to recruit in the fall, because I have a whole bunch of members that won't be coming back in the fall. But one thing that I haven't I'm going to start doing is reaching out. So I'm in a Kiwanis Club that sponsors 4 key clubs in the area. I know of all the key clubs in our county or whatever. I know who sponsors them. So I'm going to reach out to them and start recruiting now. As kids are graduating from Key Club and saying, hey, if you're going to our community college, please in the fall, come to a meeting, please look us up. Here's my information, because we can't physically contact the students directly, but I can at least get my information through the proper channels over the next 2, 3, 4 months to potentially get down to them. I was wondering if anybody has ever tried any of that. I know that it's always a big thing to try to get key clubbers to join Kiwanis. So, it's something that I'm going to be exploring now. Have other clubs tried that or anything? Are there any tips potentially for that?
Yeah, so has any clubs been successful in recruiting key club members? Anyone have success with that?
Hi, I'm from CNH.
Hi,
I'm Pauline Hirohata. Talking about key clubbers. We started to rebuild our UH Manoa this year. So basically all our members are freshmen. I think we have maybe only 2 that are not freshmen. It's been a kind of a struggle because I don't know if you all know that Hawaii has had so many lockdowns since of COVID. And University of Hawaii has just gone back into session face-to-face last week. And that's still, some of them are still doing Zoom. So it's really difficult when they don't come on campus. So I took 2 of our officers to meet up with the executive director of YMCA, because in the past with Key Club, we've done a lot of things for the Y. And now the Y has an office on campus, and they wanted to work together with our Circle K. So we kind of talked about what we could do together, but still keeping our students as Circle K. So we're going to try it out for the next couple of months and see what happens. I think that's the most we can do for now, since we're always on lockdown here in Hawaii.
Awesome. Thank you, Pauline. Dennis, were you going to say something?
I was going to thank California, Nevada, Hawaii, because most of our members are key clubbers from Cal Neva, and have a lot of them come from Hawaii, and they are actively recruiting back to their schools because they were presidents or lieutenant governors. And so our membership grows every time new students come from California and Hawaii, and working very well for us.
That's good. I'm glad. We do lose a lot of our officers because they seem to go to the mainland.
Yeah.
So we're always recruiting, but we also convey to them about Circle K. So
And it's working well. I mean, we get good members. So
Yeah,
thank
thank you.
And I think too, we've seen across the organization, districts have put a big emphasis and the organizations put a big emphasis on recruiting Key Club members. And I think we've seen that over the past 3 years kind of play out. You know, I look around the room at some of my meetings and I'm like, wow, I saw you on Key Club last year. You know, it's becoming apparent that that's a huge emphasis. Thank you both for sharing. Returning to the initial question, how are you all doing planning? What does that process look like for fall planning? When does that start for a lot of y'all? When do you start planning for the fall?
I'll jump in. So, I mean, I think we start initially between April or May at like setting our plan and goals. And then I think, you know, going back to that lull, the lull happens, and then we start picking up again in August, kind of finalizing details for our involvement fair. We post videos on what's called Get Involved. So it's basically new students can go to Get Involved and look at your organization. So we post like YouTube videos about, you know, the club. And then really also planning for kind of immediately after involvement fair to kind of still be out there.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And Jack put in the chat too about like a Kiwanis family barbecue and starting that planning process there. Way to connect the fellowship of, you know, combating the summer lull with also planning. That's awesome. Anyone else have a start date? March is common. Anyone start later than that? That's good. That's good. That's a good sign, right? Y'all aren't flying in by the seat of your pants. You're getting planning done, which is awesome. Does anyone have any questions about planning before we move on to the next topic? Awesome. Planning is a pretty, you know, boring topic, so I don't blame y'all. Okay. So are your members eager to attend their district conventions? And how are you encouraging them to attend? You know, I think we all being here recognize the power of our district conventions and the importance of attending them. So how are you all as advisors encouraging that and encouraging members to attend?
I think you're reading my mind right now, because my frustration of the day today was when my Circle K president came in the office to tell me that she didn't think she could get off work that weekend. And it's just, I don't have anybody in my club right now who's ever experienced a true district convention, and that's making it a really hard sell. Yeah. Giving up a whole weekend is really tough for our working college students.
Of course. Does anyone have any ways to encourage people or to kind of demonstrate the importance? You go, Brian.
One thing I would suggest is, and it might be a little hard if, like in your case, Brian, if you're struggling to get some people to go right now, but if you have a couple, you know, students who are a little savvy at PowerPoint or something like that, putting together a little video or something, make a collage, a slideshow, something that shows what previous years. And so, like at the end of this decon, our decon's coming up in a few weeks, and so at the end of that, we'll include all those photos and maybe some videos and things like that and present it to the club. And then we save that and stash it away. I got a stash of previous stuff. And in the beginning, it's tough. But once you start building like that collection of different summaries, then when someone says, well, what really is decon? You pull up a thing, you know, this is what it's like. This is what you could be doing. And then it's not like they're watching commercial, they're watching fellow members or previous members they've heard of, actually they're doing it, living it, enjoying it. And we found a lot of times we'll start sharing those leading up to the decon and saying, hey, this is what we did last year too. Because then you get some of those new students that go, oh, this could be fantastic. And it really sets a little bit of a tone, like there's more to this. Because a lot of the students we found, once they start going to these district conventions, and we all know this, there's more people like this club that they're doing it. Like Michael Murray is the advisor for Rutgers. I'm the advisor for Stockton. We're both in New Jersey, and Joey G's got his you know, little engine that could, you know, coming around as well. And the fact that we can all say like, oh, you'll meet Rowan, you'll meet Stockton, you'll meet Rutgers, you'll meet this. they start to see, kind of get that idea of, oh, there's more to this than just slapping some service hours and eating some pizza.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
To add to that, and it made me think of one who was listing the clubs. If any of your members went to, and if you had like a fall leadership event this year, hey, you could see your friends you met at, for us, it's Insight, like, you know, another great reason to go to Decon to see those people again.
Yeah, one thing that I would encourage y'all to, I think the most power for me, so I'm thinking back to my sophomore year was my first convention that I attended. And I think the most powerful testimonial that I heard was from people that I knew, like Brian said, like people that I actually were friends with that had been before. I said, no, like you're going, you have to go, kind of thing. And I know it's tough because we've been COVID for 2 years now, been in the pandemic. A lot of y'all haven't, a lot of your members haven't even experienced a convention, right? But I encourage y'all, if you have a good relationship with the division or the district, get some members from another club that, you know, maybe your club members know, or, you know, get some fellow members to talk about convention, because I think, you know, when Brian, you know, an older person, no, but you know what I mean? Sorry. When an advisor talks, right, about convention, it comes off differently, right? It's like, oh, like I should be doing this because it's the right thing to do as a member of the club. But when I say, hey, we're going to go eat some ice cream, go to a diner at midnight, you know, every day of a convention, like people, it's more incentive to come out because, you know, you have that relationship. Any other? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Kyle, this is Tracy from Arizona State.
Hi, Tracy. Welcome.
Thank you. I'd say two things. Our club presidents for the last 10 plus years have been the champions for the district convention. And as an example, this year, 5 of the people from our club are also in district leadership positions, which is kind of a lot. So it's sort of easy for them to really promote attendance at Decon themselves. And particularly, we talk about the elections and the leadership positions at that district, at the district level, that are available to them as well. So that kind of has worked well. And then the past maybe 2 or 3 presidents of the club have done a great job of working with our club members so far in advance to obtain funding from the university for them to attend, that really sort of amplified then the number of students that were able to attend. There's, you know, some of them do work weekends, but then there's also the actual cost itself. So if we can get university funding to offset those costs, that's another big incentive for the members to want to attend themselves.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Tracy, for sharing. And that's huge. And that goes into the proper planning and starting planning early. You know, getting funding for district convention, it's not complicated. You know, you have your Kiwanis Club, you have your university, you can go canning down at the local ShopRite if you have to, right? Like there are so many avenues to get funding. It's just about proper planning and doing that in a timely manner. So you can ask off work, you can get the money, you can, you know, get your friends hyped up about it. So thank you, Tracy. That's an awesome point. Anyone else have any other convention stories or, you know, getting people hyped to go? Okay, and just a added note here, how many of y'all are interested, or you think your members will be interested in international convention? Just raise your hand. Or got a couple of you. Okay.
I think I know at least one that'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, just start thinking about that too. If you're interested in international convention, it'll be nice to see you out there. Not a plug, just as one member to another advisor. Just consider it. It's fun. Austin's a great city too. There's a mechanical bull out there you can ride. It's incredible. Anyway, moving on. Open floor. So what is on your mind? What else is on your mind? Any concerns that you have? Anything that y'all are thinking about? Questions that you want answered? What's up with y'all? I'll count down from 5 if no one has anything.
I'll bring up something just to see if anyone, I guess from Jeff, I guess this is more for you. because I had been dealing with member services, and for the most part, it's taken care of. But we had some issues getting our new member materials. So, we submitted our first batch of dues back in the end of October. And we didn't get anything for our new members. And then we had submitted another batch of member updates probably in the middle of November, and we got that membership material. So I knew something was up. We did wind up getting it, but in both times, there were no member pins included in our shipment. So just because I know some people don't know the avenues to call or don't know what to expect, I just wanted to make sure you were possibly aware of that.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, the board decided to kind of get away from membership pins. Pins have doubled in price, and then with COVID and shipping and all that good stuff from overseas, it's really shot up quite a bit. So what we're kind of moving towards, so starting in April, knock on wood, when the summer club period starts, and along with the new dues model, it'll be $24 per head. We will include, members will get electronic membership cards that they can print out. That'll reduce shipping. And then pins and things will be a la carte. So if clubs want to do that, that'll be a cost savings. And again, a lot of our clubs have said they don't use the pins. At least that's what the board's kind of decision was about a year ago. And we've replaced those with stickers, which again, as clubs pay their dues, they'll get sent new stickers every year. So that's kind of the model. And again, that'll help us reduce the cost of things. So that's kind of where we're headed moving forward. That'll all be kind of rolled out here this spring. And again, so everything will be a la carte. So in the future, if you're charting a new club, you won't have a quote unquote chartering fee. You'll just pay your regular membership fees as well. So $24 per member. And, and if you want to buy the bell or a banner, you can do that, but won't be required, I guess, as it is now. So if that helps.
Okay, good to know. I mean, we had so many pins left over for members that dropped off before we were able to give them out that we had plenty to still give out, but yeah, that is good to know.
Yeah. So someone asked about the pins cost. I think they doubled in price. So our problem is that we have to buy them in bulk. So, I think the last time they were bought in bulk was, about 5 years ago. And so we're kind of running through, whatever we have left and not to reorder them. But it was, again, I was told the original at cost was like 40 some cents. And now last I was told it was at 88 cents. And that doesn't include shipping, which really kills us as far as, shipping pins all over the world. So that's kind of where we went to the stickers. And again, the idea for the stickers is every year as your club pays dues, you'll get a batch of stickers. And then after we get through this a couple of years, graduating seniors will get a digital certificate with the sticker logos on them from their 4 or 5 years in CKI that they can print as like a diploma almost, but it'll be with those images that are specific to the years within CKI. And those will be downloadable as well. If you haven't got your stickers yet, that's because our office has been shut down because of COVID. So we're going to be allowed back in next week. And so we can get them shipped out. So if you haven't received your stickers yet for the year, hopefully next week you'll get them, or the week after.
I have a couple extra in my car if anyone wants. I can drop some off. Anyone else have any other questions? Oh, okay. Brian's got a question. Will clubs get approval to go use the logo to purchase their own pins at a lower cost if they ask, and CKI is getting away from them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's through the Kiwanis store that you can do that. Those approved vendors. I will say we've had really a problem with even finding, like, we try to find alternative people here in the U.S. to create the pins, but the casting of whatever the pin is, I don't know what the terms are, but the mold, I guess, it takes some setup costs, in other words. So they wanted us to guarantee to buy quite a bit, and that's not something that we could afford to do. So You might be able to find a pin maker, and if you do, let us know. But we had trouble finding one within the US so we could avoid the shipping and the COVID issues and the backlogs.
Awesome. Anthony.
So I'm just a little confused because I know I'm a CKI alum. So when I was in Circle K, we did pay about $33 dues and included the district, which was $8. So your 24 and district dues is going to be about the same right now going forward. So we're not going to get, the members are not going to get pins now. Like if we want to buy those, we have to buy those separately. I mean, I'm all for going into individual dues rather than the $600 fee, which, has been, in my opinion, horrible. But I mean, now we're basically paying the same that we paid about 10 years ago, if not a little, like, again, it's working out to be about the same per dues, but we're getting less. I don't understand that. I understand you're saying the cost of the pins going up, but I don't know why that wasn't calculated in whatever the cost of the dues should be now. Maybe make them 25 or 26 or whatever, I'm a little confused by that.
Yeah. So I think, other people on the call can chime in on this as well, but this was a number that was reached by our members. So last year in Salt Lake, the dues amendment was proposed, and I will be candid, staff and district administrators really pushed for a higher number. But our leaders at the time felt that would, members wouldn't stay within CKI at that price. So they originally proposed, I think, $18, and we proposed somewhere around 32 or 35, if I can recall correctly. And after more than a year of, like, we had town halls, we had, all this member input, 24 was what was able to pass the International Council meeting, because we didn't have a House of Delegates last year because of COVID. So I agree. Frankly, I agree. I wish it would be more. We could do more, but we are where we are, and we had to kind of make those budget decisions based on what was passed at the International Council meeting last year. And again, other people are on the call, Justin or Kyle or whoever. If you have anything to chime in, please do.
Well, I mean, just as a follow-up, I mean, is there possibly an option? I know right now, if you order the pins, I forget how much they are. I think they're $4 or $5 or whatever through the store. Is there an option to maybe lower the price? Like if a Kiwanis club wanted to buy the pins for our CKI, maybe pay $2 a piece or something like that. Like, have a discount to go along with that.
I'll certainly ask our retail department, because we don't control that pricing. But one of the things that we're trying to do as well is give the option of buttons. So pins just cost more than a button does. So we'd have like a Circle K club president button. You could still get the pin, but a button would be a much cheaper option. So, but yeah, I can, if you drop your email in the chat, I can follow up with you on that. Absolutely.
Sure.
And I also want to say too, as Jeff mentioned, it was like tough getting the dues proposal across. But I encourage y'all, like, if you want your clubs to have pins or your members to have pins, just work that into the cost that you offer for club dues. So once you like package the dues together, factor in the $4 or $5, or if it's at a discount, but just factor that in. And I think that would be really effective. Some of our clubs don't care about the pins, some do. So I think this is the best happy medium that we could have come up with. So I encourage y'all to bundle that in as best as possible.
I'll just chime in and say too, so I'm Justin. I actually led a task force on for sustainability of Circle K for about a year. And this was a big, heavy topic within our group as well. So we had advisors, past board members, current Circle K members, administrators, just general Kiwanians, all a part of this group. And realistically, looking at the finances, dues need to be at about, I think the number we came up with was $33 in order to operate as we are right now with everything that's currently being included. However, when that number got put in front of the students, it was we're not paying that. There's no way that we're going to pay that. There's no way we're going to approve it, because right now, if we have enough members, we only have to pay $1 for dues. I'm not going to pay $33 to pay for dues. So then there was a big discussion on, okay, so then what areas can we cut back on? Where can we come up with this compromise and lower down? We've even looked at reducing the size of the international board, reducing the number of trips that international board members are allowed to take, reducing the number of meetings that international board members can even have in person as opposed to virtually. And so there were a bunch of things that kind of had to go with it in order to get down to a number that the students felt even comfortable paying for. So, you know, and unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at right now. And can we build on that in the future? I think we can, you know, build on that in the future and start to have some of those things kind of back included again. But as you know, all of us, it's preaching to a choir, right? 10 years ago, the inflation now is, you know, leaps and bounds over where it was 10 years ago. So even though we had all this 10 years ago, it's just not feasible in today's financial world. And that's kind of where we were at.
Yeah, I will also say, and I think this is one of the positive outcomes of the per member. So right now, if you're a club, I'm going to say in a non-districted area like Japan, we know we have about 10 clubs in Japan, but because they're not districted, they don't report to us their rosters. And we have no idea how many members we have in Japan or in Malaysia or elsewhere. Under this model, they will begin paying per member dues as well, just like our members in North America, Canada, and the Caribbean. And we have staggered, so depending on the gross domestic product in those nations, it's going to be $24, $10, or $5. But the hope is that we can actually show, you know, our true membership numbers and make up some of that lost revenue that, you know, we've lost from not going to 33. And again, be able to grow quickly. Kyle and his team have developed a financial independence plan that we're working through to have Circle K be off the Kiwanis subsidy within 5 years. And we need to do that. We're developing, we'll be launching a alumni program soon, but also we need about 22,000 members more in CKI to be in addition to what we have now, to be totally financially independent. And I think we're going to capture a lot of those if we can get non-districted clubs to report their rosters and pay individual dues. So that, again, we're hopeful as we move forward.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question if you don't mind. We're a brand new club, and I'm a first-time advisor. I mean, I've advised K kids and key clubs, but not a Circle K club. So our Kiwanis club has basically budgeted whatever the dues are for our club. We only have 13 members. You know, we paid $600 last year or this year to get this club started. And we're figuring, well, it'll cost us $600 again next year for everything to get going. Well, now you're saying it's going to be 24 or 30, whatever dollars per student. Why couldn't, if you went to your students and asked your students to come up with, say, I mean, these college students that I run into on my campus, they're all working part-time jobs. None of them have a whole lot of money. So if you just say, hey, you know, why don't you pay $10? And then is it out of ordinary, or are we doing the wrong thing by then saying maybe the club picks up the other 25? I mean, it would be a reduction for the club. We'd go from spending $600, say, to spending $200, but it would guarantee us that we would keep those 10 members as part of the club rather than lose them because they simply don't have $30 to join us. Are we doing something wrong, or are we okay doing what we're doing?
No, I would say you can continue to support your CKI clubs, but instead of paying that $600 flat fee, you would only be paying $24 a head. So again, it'll save, and maybe the Kiwanis club, the sponsoring club, will say, you know, we budgeted this amount, but you were only going to spend this amount, keep it, or, you know, use it for a service project or something like that. So, you know, like I said, this happened last year in Salt Lake, and we've had some communications about it in our newsletters and things, but certainly this first year with budgeting is gonna change. But I think for the vast majority of our clubs, which are, you know, 10, 15, 20 members, this is gonna be a nice cost savings, so they don't have to pony up that $600 every year. So yeah, we're hopefully that'll grow a lot of clubs as well as they, take this burden off of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to Jeff's point, not to like chime in and add to that, but in our task force, we also looked at the number of clubs it impacts, and 2/3 of our Circle K clubs across the world are less than 25 members. So currently with the $600 club fee, that's 25 members at $24 to equal that $600. So any club that's under 25 members will actually be benefiting with the per member fee.
Awesome. This is Jack Meisenbach. I'm in the Mohawk district with the University of Missouri. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, our district is really hurting. We had one Circle K meeting last year at the University of Missouri, just one. And a lot, it's of course of COVID. And this year, we're going to have our first one tomorrow. And frankly, I don't know how many members they have. I don't think they have more than a handful. And we used to have 13 CKIs in the Mohawk district. Now we're down to 5. And I looked and I think only 2 of them have paid their $600. So we're in a flat spin going down on this thing right now. And our club, the Columbia Kiwanis Club, we have been paying the $600 every year. The students have been doing fundraisers and things, and they were able to pay the other $24 or whatever it is. But I would like to think that lowering the dues will help the membership thing, but I'm not. There's been just a complete change in participation at the college in all areas. The service organizations at Columbia College as well as University of Missouri, they're all the same. They're all down, and I'm not sure we're going to turn this ship around, to be honest with you. But we're going to work on it. I'll throw as much money as I have to at it, but honestly, we're hurting. Same with the key clubs, and the only one that's doing good is K kids. Every kid in 4th and 5th grade wants to be in a K kid. Okay, I'll tell you that. But the rest, the builders clubs too, they're really low on membership in Columbia, Missouri. Anyway, well, I'm glad to hear you guys are going to lower the dues. That might help. But like I said, our club's been paying that $600 every year. We've been doing that for probably 20 years. So
Yeah.
I think too, Jack, I mean, you hit on a good point here. Like, I think on campuses, the culture's changed a little bit. And I mean, this didn't start during COVID, but I think it's been only sped up by COVID, right? And people not being on campus together. But I think there's a little bit of optimism here. I think, I encourage you to hopefully let us know how your meeting goes tomorrow. Because I think people are starting to come back and come out of the woodworks and realize that the importance of joining clubs like this that they weren't really realizing before COVID. So I hope that really plays out for you, and anything that we can do for you, please let us know.
Thank you.
Anthony. Oh, good. Anthony, and then Paulie was late. Okay, yeah. Good.
Just to clarify, is there a minimum going forward with the $24? Is there a minimum right now for members? Because we have about 15, like that's usually what we average. So I know it's going to help us, but I'm just wondering going forward, if we only have, let's say 10 that pay, is that okay? I mean, is there a minimum on that?
Our bylaws state that, if you're on a campus of 5,000 or more, the minimum club size is 15. If you're at a 2-year institution, I think it's under 5,000, it can be 10 members. So I do think though, and maybe, I don't know if Leah's still on the call or not, but I do think that's going to be a discussion this summer at the House of Delegates, if we change the minimum standards for a club membership. So,
well, I mean, the reason I ask, that's a minimum to charter a club, but just like with Kiwanis, it's minimum to 15 to charter, but there are plenty of Kiwanis clubs that have 10 and 5, and Kiwanis takes our dues, and that's fine. So, if we have 5 Circle Kers pay and we're already an established club, it should be fine. I'm just,
we're not in the business of shutting down clubs. So we're not gonna come after any club that doesn't have those minimum numbers. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry, that's right.
Pauline and then Michael. Is that
I
Pauline?
have, I
Sorry, go
have a
ahead.
question. Sorry, I don't know.
You go ahead.
Okay. Y'all were mentioning $600 college fee, and I mean the dues, and that's what UH Manoa paid, 810. So were you all not charged $10 per member in addition to the 600 flat fee?
That might be your district dues.
Yeah, that's
so the
probably
$10
district.
Yeah, so
Oh,
the
the
600
CNA.
for international, and then the $10 goes towards the CNH district.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a $600 flat fee for the entire club from international, and then the 10 would have gone to the district per member.
so do you know if that's going to happen next year, the 24 plus additional 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will, it'll be, the international dues will be applied to each of your members, and then the district dues, whatever district dues are, will be applied as well.
Okay.
Are district dues and international going to be billed from international or separate?
Yeah, for those of you who are familiar with like a Key Club, I believe they do it this way, where it says like Kyle Lank member, and it has a line that says that for the international dues, and then a line right below it that says their district dues. So it'll be the same kind of format for that. So yes, they will be billed at the same time, unless you know, I can't think of a district that doesn't collect dues through international, but there may be one out there. But
Eastern Canada, and
Okay.
there's another one. There's two.
PNW has been district separate from international.
Okay.
Or for Circle K, but not for Key Club or Kiwanis. So
okay.
I have a
Hey, good, Linda.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I've been a little bit later. I've been at school. I'm at Jarvis Christian College, down close to Tyler, Texas. It's a historically Black college. I think we have the largest CKI. I have 41. And they're growing. I mean, growing every day. And it's really a huge problem. We're rural, out in the country. There's going to be around a little over about 1,200 in the school. CKI, I mean, I know how some people struggle, and I do understand it, but somehow this club has met the needs of the student, the disadvantaged student that didn't have the love and the care growing up. And I was president of my Kiwanis at Holly Lake Ranch, and they share our CKI with Mineola, which is down the road. So two of them, they paid for the t-shirts. These students do not have cars. They are truly disadvantaged students in a lot of ways, not everybody. But it's a huge problem. And when I got this news, I didn't know what was going to happen, and I still don't. They don't have the money to do it. The two Kiwanis clubs paid for the annual, I don't know what all you call all this stuff. I just know I get the bills. Anyway, and Kiwanis does it, but they don't have, they have on campus, they've got, if you qualify through student work program, then you can work some, but you can only work like maybe 20 hours. It's very minimal. And I don't know what we're going to do. We lost 10 in December, so we're 31. And then within 2 weeks, we got 9 new members. So Kiwanis is coming over to pin us, and I have certificates for everyone, made those myself. I don't know what we're going to do. I know that, are you the governor? I don't know who you are, but anyway, the little governor's been writing us, and lieutenant governor, and been great. I mean, great. And you know, I don't know. I guess we've never really had to go raise a bunch of money. I don't know what the answer is for us. I really don't. Kids can't get off campus to work, and you're in the country. I know the United Negro Fund has helped a lot of the students, but I'm director of diversity there, and I've got a lot of means for us to be to do this, but I don't know what our answer is. It's a lot of, how much would that be for us with 39 students? That's as of tonight. I don't know what it'll
Yeah.
be next week.
Well, 41 students, that's 984. So obviously that's more than the 600 flat fee. Maybe what we could do is if you drop your email in the chat, we can touch base with you, because there are options that you can have more than one Kiwanis Club sponsor.
We
and they don't e-
We
yeah,
divide. Yeah, we've
okay,
got,
yeah.
but
So
they're paying they're paying was it 750 or 450? 450, something like that. I don't know
Okay.
what 450. What was that?
that's probably the international fee because of the size of your school.
Right, right. That was right. Ours was lower. So they paid the 450. We're clear on that. But this dues thing, I don't know. That's a lot. I don't know what we're going to do, because I think we're the largest in Texas, Oklahoma. I'm not sure. That's not important. But I had 5 come in today, and I train them. I sit down with them. And I think you ask a question. I don't know if you've asked it, how you recruit. Have y'all covered that yet?
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a wonderful answer, or what did I miss?
We're finishing up here. But I mean, for recruitment, I think the big takeaway was doing stuff outside of the recruitment fairs. So, doing stuff like partnering with the local, like another club that you think members could come in from, finding a tabling spot at the local dining hall or somewhere on campus, just getting out of the school recruitment fair, because everyone's doing that. And not a lot of schools have a big, especially spring recruitment, and really getting out there and starting partnering with clubs and getting the name out there for CKI. That was the big Cliff Notes version. We can take this offline. I can give you more information on that too. So you can make sure you're equipped with that.
Yeah, and I put some links in the chat of some recruitment things to help, and then we will also upload this to our YouTube channel, so you can see the whole meeting, and we should have that uploaded the next day or so.
What do I go under to look at it? What do I look up?
If you put your email in the chat, I can email you the links.
Okay. Well, I guess we're a sort of a different situation, maybe, because what I do is I have all new membership, and I always say interested in membership. So it's kind of open all the time. And I don't know, maybe I'm not doing it right, but
no, every time you get a member, that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I usually say that, all members, but mostly it's that they see the t-shirts and they see a seriousness and a commitment. And we've got the Divine Nine, the fraternities and sororities on campus, all that big whoop-de-loo and everything. But CKI is the one the president will call for. And he will say, I need y'all to serve a student appreciation. And they're there. And the members also will say, you don't come, we take you off. And I said, no, you just don't do that. You just don't do that. I said, y'all just show up now and don't judge everybody so hard. So it's funny to sit back. And one thing I did this year that I didn't do, after a meeting, if there's someone new that shows up, I spend another hour. Everybody's dismissed. And then I just sit there and get to know them and tell them what we do, and just sort of that one-on-one. And I hadn't done that before after a meeting, but now I'm doing it, and I talk to them. And sometimes I push on one of those videos. Those videos are really good. And I just wanted to give that little suggestion. That's
great.
Really helped.
Thank you. That's a wonderful idea.
And we'll touch base too over email to talk about this.
Oh, okay. I'm taking too much time, but I love it.
Good. Yo, it's all good.
My boss said, all you like to do is CKI, don't you? And I said, oh, well, you come to Kiwanis Club meeting with me. Maybe you'll understand.
We love to hear it. Awesome. Anyone else? What other questions y'all have? Any other questions for y'all?
I want to know if anybody has any way of, do you quote new membership training? Does anybody do anything like that? What do you do to educate your new members, I guess, about CKI? How do you go about it?
Would anyone like to share how they educate new members on CKI? Brian, would you like to share? how you educate new members on CKI.
Sure. One thing that I think what's so important here, and I appreciate your comments and do understand what you're saying with some of that stuff. We're going to experience some of that too, but yeah, we'll figure it out as well. I hear you. One of the things we do to educate new members who are coming in is, in those first couple meetings, first thing we do, Linda, is we talk about a summary of what we've done the past year, first and foremost. Because you have a wealth of information and knowledge about what you've already previously done. And so we have that first new member meeting, keep it light, keep it entertaining. But then the subsequent meeting or two, we have a membership chair, and the e-board will then talk a little bit about, hey, this is what we've done for the past year. These are the hours, these are the service projects, these are the socials. And hey, here's what our district did. And hey, here's what international has done. And so we had that conversation over the first 1 to 2 weeks after the new members have started. In addition to that, what we'll do is, we'll have our old newsletters. If your club has newsletters that they so then what I would suggest, Linda, is maybe seeing if anybody in the e-board would like to put together, even if it's a 2-page newsletter. If you do one of those every 2 weeks to every 3 weeks, maybe once a month even. And then what you can do starting this upcoming, even now, if you started it now, just a summary once a month of some awesome stuff you've been involved with or something the district is doing. Then what you have is the following year, you keep these saved in a file. And then when the students are coming in, and if they're interested in learning more, they can go and read the newsletters you had from previous years. And then, yes, it's a slow start, but then after you've done it for a couple of years, you have a base of wealth of knowledge of previous years that really it makes the job so much easier.
Thank you. I wonder also, are all of you are you going, we're doing some service on campus because the schools have been so closed to going into schools. We could read to children. We made coloring books for a nursing home for children we have in East Texas. And we made the coloring books and bound it and all that. But it's been real hard on projects because of COVID. So we've done service on our campus, like we did a car wash, but gave the money to the band who's needed new instruments. I mean, I guess that counts under CK. I have to continue to focus, or they'll have us do no telling what, these kids. And so, that was a good project.
These are all the Circle K advisors and sponsored.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have one real quick, Kyle.
Yeah.
Quick question there. Service initiative, the WASH project. How's the status on that? And are you close to the goal and everything? And I know you guys do like a walk type thing for that month and all. Somebody sponsors you. What other pushing ideas do you have to promote that? Because I've only been seeing that on as a promotion, but I haven't really seen anything else. And
yeah.
I may have missed the memo, but I haven't seen anything like an update or you guys close to the goal and how long that's going to be and all that stuff.
So let me jump in here, Kyle. So 5 years ago, we started a commitment for 5 years to get done and raise 240,000. So we haven't made a big deal of this yet, but I will say that we have surpassed that goal early. You'll see some stuff on social media probably after March, and that's only because we collect it with Kiwanis and the Kiwanis Children Fund, and then the check gets sent to UNICEF, then it becomes official, all that stuff. So we will have met our goal by the end of the service year and beyond it. And we will also be continue to work with UNICEF on a different project that we will announce at our convention this summer. So it'll be not as long, the 5-year commitment to WASH, and it won't be around water, but we'll be announcing that later. But to speak to your question about other ideas, Kyle, you can jump in here. I mean, we've done wash-a-thons. We have materials available there. And then of course the calendar challenge, which I think you were talking about, Floyd, but Kyle, you can jump in here.
Yeah, I mean, the big branded one is the calendar challenge, and also the wash-a-thon. there's a watch toolkit on the website, Jeff, if you could drop that link in the chat. That will take you all through a bunch of like different fundraisers. I think there's a bake sale idea, a car wash idea, a couple of other basic fundraisers. But the 6K is the really big branded one that we have. Outside of that, I mean, it's really up to the districts and the clubs to utilize their skill sets and plan unique fundraisers that really capture, and connect to the school community, whatever's going to raise the most money.
All right, great job. And congratulations. Good job.
Awesome. Thanks, Floyd. Anyone have any other questions? Well, seeing none, I appreciate y'all for coming out. We ended a little bit later today. I at 9:55, I said any questions, and here we are. But this was a great and lovely discussion, so I appreciate you all. I will see y'all at the next call, probably in April. So I appreciate y'all coming out. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Have a great one. See you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Too.
Thanks, everyone. I just dropped the WASH information in the chat, and we'll post this online in the next couple of days. Thank you, everyone.